A small landlord is upset after her tenant stopped paying rent. Unfortunately, her tenant is her mother in law, and evicting her might mean ending her marriage. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over the story of this small landlord who made the unfortunate mistake of renting to a family member. Okay, this was a very, very bad idea, and I've actually cautioned people against, renting to family or friends because these people they always want, you to give them a deal. They want special, yeah, discounts. They want you to basically give them a handout, you to take on a loss so that they can live for cheaper than they would if they were basically anywhere else. And you know what? Sometimes some people they're willing to do that, but in a lot of scenarios, what it does is it hurts the relationship between the two people. Okay, basically, you become the debtor, and the other one's the deadee, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth losing a good relationship with a family member or a friend over this sort of money scenario. It's the same thing as if you lent them money, okay? And in my opinion, don't do it. It's not gonna turn out well. So before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So my question for the other landlords on here, would you rent to friends or family? And how would you treat those people if you would? Okay, would you treat them as just a normal tenant, or would you give them special treatment, discounted rent, or allow them to pay late, etc.? Okay, and if you have done this sort of thing before, has the other person taken advantage of the situation? It's bad, but your family knows that they can take advantage of you. They know the things, and your friends too. They know the things that you fall for, and they know exactly what they have to do in order to be able to stay there and you not enforce the rules like you would on a normal tenant. So anyway, let's get into this article. It's quite interesting. This article is coming from Newsweek.com, and it says, "Woman wants to evict annoying mother-in-law for not paying rent." And I realize that, like this kind of scenario, it's bad, but you've already made the big mistake by letting your mother-in-law in there. So by trying to evict her at this point in time, you're risking your marriage. And that's not the sort of thing I think is a good idea. So anyway, let's get into the article and see what it says. The concept of blending family and business is a delicate balance, fraught with potential pitfalls. One new homeowner is feeling the weight of that, as her mother in law's delayed rental payments and unusual compensation suggestions threaten the harmony of both her home and her marriage. And an expert talked to Newsweek about the ramifications of the mother in law's actions. A Reddit user who recently purchased a multi unit building with her husband expressed her growing frustration. On paper, it seemed a win win. She and her husband occupied one unit, while his mother took up residence in another. The husband vouched for his mother's reputation as a responsible tenant, but reality quickly deviated from expectations. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, her husband is going to say, yeah, my mom is a great tenant, whether it's true or not. Okay. He doesn't want to speak ill of his mom, and I don't blame him. Okay. I don't speak ill of my mom. I realize that, hey, this guy, he's going to, see her as, perfection. He's going to see her in a glowing light. But this scenario might not be, just simply put, a monetary scenario as the wife is looking at it as. Okay, she's looking at it as, okay, she's going to be just like a regular tenant, and we should treat her just like a regular tenant, while he might be looking at it as, I am trying to give my mom a helping hand, and I want her to, not struggle as much. This is the best that I can do in order to give her a hand. So, they're not on the same page when they're looking at the mother as a tenant. And that's what the big problem is. They need to get together, tell each other what their expectations are before they should have done that before they put her up in there. Okay. If this was, if he's looking at it as this is, me helping my mom out, while she's looking at it as, oh, this is how we're going to make extra money. Well, they're not on the same page. Since moving in, the mother in law has been inconsistent with her rent payments, even suggesting offbeat alternatives for covering her rent. She mentioned to me before that she wanted her rent to be in the form of her cleaning up our apartment, which left me in shock, the Redditor shared. The homeowner's anxiety further escalated when she discovered that her mother in law had been without a job during her entire stay, a detail her husband was allegedly unaware of. Almost everything she does annoys me at this point, and I've honestly avoided interacting with her because of it, she said. So she might have been kind of embarrassed and ashamed to let her son and his wife know that, hey, I'm struggling right now. I really do need this. The son might have had an inkling of a clue that she wasn't doing as financially well, and that might be part of the reason why he decided to go ahead and rent to her. But the wife is just annoyed. The wife is annoyed that, oh, she can't pay the rent. Well, here's my question for the wife. No, what do you want to do about that now? Do you want to kick her out? Do you want to kick the mom of your husband out? How do you think that's going to end? Okay, this is why I suggest not mixing your family into your business, not trying to rent to your family members or friends, because this could very seriously end your marriage. Okay, you have to ask yourself right now, is it worth my marriage to evict this lady? Or would I rather try to come up with a different solution? So that's my suggestion. My suggestion is, right, you've already dug the hole. So now you got to figure out some other way to fill it up, okay? And it sucks. Yeah, it absolutely sucks, right? But that is the situation that you're in. And I don't think that burning the bridge with your husband or ruining the relationship with your mother in law is a good long term solution. It is just dumb. Okay. Sometimes, we just have to take that loss, take that L, because, I would not do it. I would not do, I'm married too. And I realize that, hey, it's not worth it to worth losing my marriage over just so that I can feel like, oh, I win. No, it's not. Okay. So settle down. There are other solutions to this problem. Okay. But the first thing you need to do is everybody needs to get on the same page. What you should probably do is sit down with your husband, sit down with your mother-in-law, and, talk about the issue. Figure out what's going on. Figure out if your mother-in-law is actually out there looking for another job right now. Figure out how bad it would be if you weren't able to get any rent payments from your mother-in-law, and your husband and you had to cover the entire mortgage by yourself, and figure out what the solution is. Okay, because it might not mean that, hey, we got to kick your mother-in-law out, but it might mean that your mother-in-law has to go get a job, or to be able to contribute something. It might not cover the entirety of the rent, but it will at least put us in a better position where we won't lose the entire property and all of us end up out on the street. Okay. With financial pressures mounting, the idea of renting out an extra room in their apartment has become increasingly attractive. Yet her husband's resistance to this proposal further complicates matters. This entire situation has also caused a rift between me and my husband, as he had vouched for her to be our tenant and honestly doesn't seem bothered by her behavior. My student loan payments are back, and I have other expenses related to furthering my career, she detailed. So you're like saying, hey, he doesn't seem bothered by the situation. Well, listen, he's taking care of his mom. No man is ever going to, not want to take care of his mom, or at least a real man. Okay. He's going to want to take care of her, make sure that she's doing okay, whether she's, paying the rent or not. I would do the same. I'd have my mom living in my house in an instant if she needed it. Okay. I'd be like, yes, you can move in. I will, do my best to take care of you, even if it meant that I had to struggle a bit more. Why? Because I'm not, I never turn my back on my mom. Never. Okay. That's how much I love her. And, I imagine her husband loves his mom just as much. So if there is a rift in there, I think it's because of lack of communication. Okay. And yeah, you have your student loan payments. Yeah, you have it looks like you have expenses related to furthering your career. So yeah, there's a lot of costs that are coming up. And you just need to sit down and talk like, hey, I need to rent out that spare bedroom because we're not getting rental income from your mom right now. And if we don't get rental income from your mom right now, then we won't be able to afford this place, and it's going to go into foreclosure because we won't be able to make the payment. Now, I'm not, I'm not trying to kick your mom to the curb, but how about this? You move your mom up into that spare bedroom, okay? Or you move his mom, your mother-in-law, up into that spare bedroom, and then you rent out that other unit. I mean, this would be a good temporary or a good solution to the problem. That way you would have a paying renter in that spare unit who is able to help you cover the rent. Your mom is just staying in the spare bedroom in the unit that you already could pay for. So your mom wouldn't be homeless, or the mother-in-law wouldn't be homeless. You would still be able to help her out until she's able to get back on her feet. You would have a tenant in the other unit who is paying half of the mortgage, and you would, your financial problems would be gone. I mean, just, that might not be the best situation, but, like I said, if you aren't willing to just look beyond just, trying to evict your mother-in-law, then you're putting your marriage at risk, and it's just not worth it, in my opinion.